means let's get to the starting point. And when we talk about a starting point, we're talking about moving off in a new direction that helps you get the very best kinds of sales leads you can get. Again, my name is Tom Gay. I'm a serial technology, marketing technology entrepreneur. I've taught tens of thousands of professional services providers how to get referrals over the last 25 years. Built some significant companies, sold them to major firms. And today we're going to talk about the foundations of referrals, how to build know, like, and trust relationships, and then the easy steps to get referrals coming into your business. Now, we have all kinds of businesses here, so it's totally generic in terms of its application. However, the process is consistent, and the process is all about relationships and how do you build know, like, and trust relationships. And you're going to leave with the exact steps. You're going to be able to implement these exact steps when you go off into your afternoon, or if you're already in it, that's okay. You're going to have specifically what you need to do next. And then we have an Engage Pro tool. I'll show you a little bit about it. We'll not go into the technology today or demo it. That's not the purpose of the starting point. Now, I will also add, since we're doing this within our Alignable community, on the 1st of January, we became Referrals Made Easy. That became the name of our group inside of Alignable. And if you're not in the Engage Pro Referrals Made Easy group, you're behind schedule. 4,000 people have beat you into this group in the last calendar year. Join us, because we're going to take it a lot larger. And we're all about giving first. Those of you who know me personally know that the give is always the first. And additionally, before we got going, I spoke about the Referrals Made Easy Learning Center. The link to that is in the chat. It's totally 100% complimentary. All of our replays are there, as well as a greatly expanded starting point course, video course on the key things to do. And if you just joined that for free and took that video course, you're going to be equipped to go get more new business by referral. Next, again, before we started, I talked about our having a Smart Connect on Friday. The link to that will be in the chat. We had a great turnout last week. We had like 50% show up rate to a first time ever. And when we're together, we're going to talk about how do you create things like your unique selling proposition, and how do you do research into a person's interest so that you can become referable and build engaged relationships, and all kinds of things over the weeks and months ahead. Register, join us. We're going to have fun. The world we're in today is the world we're responding to with a referral selling strategy. The world is a place where the people we want to talk to are totally overwhelmed by everything that's coming at them. I listened to a video this morning. It was a short one from a friend down in South Africa. And in it, he depicted how LinkedIn is filled with so many fake accounts and bots just pushing junk into your inboxes in LinkedIn. Now, thankfully, Alignable is a lot better than that. I can testify. However, the people you're trying to reach, wherever that prospect may be, is spinning plates, under the gun, hiding out, needing to filter junk out, and you're getting through to them is totally a function of how much they are carrying around, how much they're blocking people. And there's a lot of people who are just not reachable because they've shut down, turned themselves off, and they don't want any more noise coming into their life. We're going to show you how to overcome that. It's not hard. It really isn't hard, but you're going to have to go a different way. Now, here in this time in our Alignable and in our community networking building process, everyone says, go out and network and connect with people who you meet in the settings where those networking events are taking place. You hear the story, people do business with those who they know, like, and trust. There's nothing magic about that. It's a given. However, there's a lot that's missing. Knowing what you should do and then knowing why you should do it and how to do it are two different things. In addition, you don't get anything out of a networking activity unless you follow up. As they say, the key is in the follow up. Well, I think the key is in the results, and the results come when you follow up in the very best ways. So, what we're going to talk about is not the principles of know, like, and trust. They're included. Let's call that a bonus. We're going to throw that in with what you do here with me today. However, it's all about following each of the steps in the process if you want results. Now, this is for just about everyone who is in a relationship-based business. I put this list up just to trigger some thinking, but there's two thoughts that I want you to go away with when you look at this. Number one is, do people buy from you or become prospects because there's a degree of trust or relationship building that takes place? And if your business isn't on here, it's not left off intentionally. This isn't everyone. This is just reflecting the type. So it triggers your thinking around trust. But the second thing to think about is the people who you would like to get referrals from. This is important. The people who are most likely to be candidates to introduce you to the people you want to meet are already doing business with people who are in trusted relationships. And if you can build trust with these kinds of people who are bringing their services, their products, who are in the marketplaces where you want to enter, then you need to look and say, who amongst this group, what categories, so to speak, would represent relationships that I could build, that I could capitalize on if I invested in growing the trust in that relationship. Anyhow, moving on, growing trusted relationships gets results, and it's all a part of what we call the relationship cycle. You know, you've heard the framework. People do business with those who they know, like, and trust. However, what's left out are two important components of that. You build trust by how you give into the relationship. Give, you could say invest, you could use any kind of analog to that. What we're talking about is the whole go-giver model, the go-giver sell more, the go-giver. That whole set of principles are ones that I've taught for years and years and years. And the reality is when you give into a relationship, people begin to know you, like you, and trust you. Now you're going to learn about what does that mean in just a few minutes. But the second component that's not often used when one studies these different cycles or the models, if you will, is you've got to do something to ask people to reciprocate. As you give and give to people, not just in terms of business life, in all aspects of your life, if you don't let the people you're giving to have an opportunity to give back, they'll get frustrated. Some will break the relationship because you're making it one-sided and they want it to be both directions. The ask part is vital because when you ask in the right way and teach people specifically who to introduce you to, who to refer you to, that gives them a chance to reciprocate. They get the adrenaline rush that comes into the middle of their cerebral cortex, and you build a give and receive two-way street. And those become, and can become, I should say, lifelong referral partners. That cycle is valid, unbreakable, and only works if you do all the steps. But when it does, it will turn into what I call a proverbial referral machine. Okay, now when I use the word referral, I want to get on the same page with you. And I used to not speak to this, but I found there's a lot of people with some misunderstandings. And since I have the microphone, I'm going to be the one setting the definitions here. By the same page, I'm not talking about getting leads. I'm not talking about getting recommendations. Leads and recommendations, those are all good. Even introductions are good. We're not talking about word of mouth. Word of mouth is not a marketing strategy. Word of mouth is what takes place when someone says something good about you. It's called social proof. One person saying something nice about you is a great thing. The challenge with resting on word of mouth is when someone's saying something nice about you, you don't know what took place. Whoever heard that word of mouth, let's call it something about you and the service you provide, you don't know if the listener is going to take a step. So you can't take any action. Those are not referrals. A referral is a very specific, very well-defined event or activity. First of all, a referral occurs when someone takes action. Someone you've built a trusted relationship with decides, because of how you asked and taught them, decides to introduce you to someone they believe need what you do. It's all built on this foundation of trust and personal relationships, as I've said, and the person to whom you're being introduced has a need. I had a request for a referral this morning that came from inside of the Alignable system, and I don't consider that a referral. If I could refer them, I'm not sure it would qualify amongst these conditions because I don't know if they have a need. I don't have a relationship with the person that they're asking me to make the connection to. And so we're having a more qualifying conversation before I try to help them in what it is that they're looking for. But the other important thing, when a referral is well given, made well, think of it that way, the person to whom you're being referred to is contacted by the referrer, and they know you're coming, and they know why you're coming, and they want to talk with you. They want to meet with you. It may not be that they'll become a client, but the pavement has been cleared for you, or the red carpet will be awaiting you, and there isn't a better prospect to sit down and have a conversation with to see whether you do have a fit than one who is prepared for what it is that you're going to be speaking about. I think it's pretty logical, and I think you can all see the difference between a referral and a recommendation or a simple introduction. In fact, I school people who send me emails saying, Tom meet Charlie, Charlie meet Tom. You guys make a connection. I school them that that's not a good introduction. And most times when I can have that kind of helpful conversation, they take it well. Some people don't take it well at all, but I can tell you, I don't have the time to talk to people if I don't know why we're being connected. There's just too many other things to do besides taking blind shots in the night. Okay, so we're on the same page on what a referral is. We understand that trust is at the center of it. Now let's get into how easy it can be. The first thing you have to do is to find people who you might possibly help, a prospective client, or in the case of today's topic, who might possibly know the people that I could help or you could help. So you find and make a contact. That contact is made in places like Alignable, in many other ways. Could be at a networking meeting, a virtual meeting, at a coffee shop, at an alliance meeting. There's just lots and lots of ways to make that initial contact. Then you have to select people by connecting with them when they fit the profile of either your ideal referral partner or an ideal target opportunity, client opportunity. But I highlight the word follow-up. Nothing happens until you have effective, consistent follow-up. And I'm probably more guilty perhaps than anyone, where I meet lots of great people, but because I'm swamped with so many priorities, my follow-up at times just stinks. If that's you, then you've got company, so don't be offended. But nevertheless, poor follow-up means poor results, or means a poor ROI on whatever time I invested in networking and making contact. The third one, and this is a variation on the theme, you need to focus on someone's personal interests. I did a workshop last year where I talked about how do you make networking most effective. And I'll do one again this year for sure, and I'll make it happen. Some of this come forward in one of our upcoming Smart Connects on Fridays. But when we talk about personal interests, we're talking about the things that the people we're following up with care about. You know, their hobbies, their favorite restaurants, where they go on vacation, their family, where they grew up, where they went to school, how they got into that business, what their plans are for this coming year in terms of a vacation, their travel plans, those kinds of things. And I have lots of illustrations that we'll bring up in that training. But when you approach people who are being slammed with all kinds of noise about buy my stuff, email marketers, people texting now, endless spam text messages, it seems. When you're encountering people like that, you come in and talk with them about, you know, their son being accepted at, let's say, Purdue University. Now you're more interesting. And that conversation has a greater likelihood of happening, let alone continuing into a relationship. Then we use the word engagement. Engagement is all about how you stay in touch and how often you communicate with people. We'll go deeply into this in a few moments. But when you engage with people and talk about their interest, trust is a building outcome, and that's when the opportunity to tell your story. Now, if you're doing this with people you're looking to turn into referral sources or even referral partners, that's when it's time to do the asking and teaching people who and how to best introduce you. We have a whole course called The Art of Asking. Asking is a challenge for some people. They just aren't comfortable asking. It's not that you're in a unusual position. There are lots and lots of people like that. However, once you learn how easy it is to teach people what the ideal referral could be for you and turn that into a blueprint and even a script, it gets easy. That's for another day. Anyhow, when you teach people the right way, that's when you will receive referrals. When you receive them, they may not all be great at the start, but that's where your teaching comes back in because you're going to thank them, give them feedback, and reciprocate. And one of the ways I love to get referrals is I love to give referrals. So reciprocity or being a giver of something the other person wants triggers the interest in giving something back in kind. And when you create that give and give economy, as I like to call it, your business grows. As an example, in my background, I started a CEO consulting practice in Boise, Idaho. I knew no one when I moved to Boise, except I had just bought a franchise for a major consulting practice. Went to Boise expecting to start marketing and growing new clients. Now, I had led the largest referrals training company in North America prior to that. There's more to that story. However, when I got to Boise, I spent $20,000 sending out direct mail, hiring telemarketers to try to get appointments set up, and inviting people to come to a hotel to hear me tell them why they should be listening to what I had to offer. I got one client out of $20,000 spent. I said, stop to the franchisor. Don't spend another penny. I'll go do it myself. I went back to what I knew. I knew all about referral marketing. So I took what I knew, turned it into a system, used it to approach the people in Boise who knew the CEOs of companies who might need what I did. And in 18 months had 31 paying clients and a multiple six-figure business. I put that in an ebook, by the way. That ebook is in the free learning center, um, depicting exactly step by step what I did. That's the Referrals Made Easy Learning Center. In any event, I proved it to myself first, once again, and then turned that experience into what became refer.com. That led to almost 5 million subscribers to that company's software tools about a decade ago. Anyhow, receive, thank, and reciprocate. Now, going deeper, we're about to get into the formulas that you should be using. Trust comes first, and I liken trust to being a bridge. The bridge is going to cover the gap between people. And as you build trust, as you do the things to build that bridge, what you're constructing is a pathway across which each of you are going to get benefits. You're going to show who you are and you're going to see who they are, and together you're going to have the chance to multiply. So trust has to be built intentionally, and it's built on your character and competence. And that character and competence is visible to the other person as you give, and you give meaningfully, okay, meaning about the other person. You show up, you build engagement, and you also have to have the credentials. If you don't know how to do, let's say, brain surgery, you don't have the competence, you may have all the character in the world. I don't want you operating on my brain. It's as simple as that. However, when you put great experience and great product and great service together with great character, that trust bridge gets built quickly. Then you teach people how to introduce you, and you will find that inside of the first 30 days, you'll start to see results. And inside of the first 60 to 90 days, you're going to have a complete functioning referral marketing system that will sustain your business for as long as you want. I spoke of follow-up. When I'm talking about follow-up after connecting, is identifying the people who know the people you want to meet. And we speak to doing that by selecting a small group. If I go to a Smart Connect and I have 8 meetings in 1 hour and I meet 8 great people, they're all nice people. There's no question about that. But there's likely only going to be 1 or 2 of the absolute rightest people. That's a terrible word, but I had to make the point. The most opportune relationships. There's only going to be 1 or 2 coming out of that meeting, and now I select them because they're going to become part of my focus or follow-up list, my A list. They can come from all kinds of industries. They may not come from a Smart Connect. You may already know them. It amazes me how much people earn or get growth out of simply building effective keep in touch systems with previous clients. Nevertheless, when we're starting out helping people build a referral marketing system, the whole question is, who should I be doing this with? And we always say, start from the known, start from the position of what you know, and that is current and past clients. Number 2, other people who are serving your ideal target client. Number 3, the people you're meeting in the marketplace who you think might be a desirable prospect or someone who knows desirable prospects. And then there's the influencers. The influencers know a lot of people. Those characteristics combined together should be aimed at getting you a list of people to build engagement with. That list at the beginning shouldn't be more than 20 people. We caution people, no, don't go for 50, don't go for 40, don't go for 200. Go for 10, go for 15, maybe 20, 25 max. And the reason is simple. Hear this point. It's not that you don't know a gazillion people that you could say they could help me, but if you don't learn the steps, it's sort of like golf. You go and get a few lessons and get your swing grooved before you go and tackle the big golf course. You're not going to Hilton Head until you've practiced your swing. By starting out with 15 or 20 and following the formula, and we'll get into the formula coming up. By following the formula, now you groove your swing or groove the process. And in 30 days, when you've done this consistently, you're going to find you've created a new habit. This new habit is going to become your sales growth lifestyle. Okay, moving on. Trust. You've heard trust once or twice today. I can't overstate it, but trust is all about engagement, and engagement is a very specific activity. As I illustrate in this image here, we're bringing contacts in from the old-fashioned contact book. Today, that should be a cell phone, let's just say. Doesn't matter. Symbols are what they are. You're bringing in your 20 people into the top of this funnel, and you're going to start the gears turning called the keep in touch gears. You're going to build personal contact habits with them in building engagement. Engagement in this case means reaching out and making contact once every 2 weeks. Once every 2 weeks means you're going to be establishing top of mind awareness, TOMA, as I create my own acronym for that. You're going to be having conversations about their interests, about what they do, why they are interested, or where they came from to get into that field of business. You're going to be delivering, remember this, items of value, content about what they're interested in, articles, website links. And then as you're doing that every other week with an individual or the A-list group, that's when, after a couple of intervals, you're going to start teaching and asking. Now, I'm going to digress for a minute just to make a very quick point. If you engage personally using that every other week contact cycle where you're talking about them, research shows, this isn't my research, this is provided by a major research firm in Canada. Research shows that 100% of engaged clients have actually already referred when they were surveyed about the level of engagement their provider gives and their referral activity. 90% say they're very comfortable referring. Why? You can take a look at that right-hand column and just write trust right across it. Trust, relationship, personal communications, etc. Now, anything less than that every other week cycle, the level of actually getting referrals falls to 7% or less. Now, in some industries, you wrestle with or try to want to increase client retention because you have a recurring income opportunity. That's very common in the financial services and insurance world. If you're not engaged with your clients in a meaningful, continuous way, I'm going to go take them from you, or somebody is. I'm not going to do it personally, but somebody is going to go and build engagement, and they're going to steal your clients away bit by bit. They're going to come in with a supposedly better idea. And if you want to stop that, do what we're saying about engagement. Okay, now let's talk about the personal interest, because I skipped over that. I didn't go into it in depth. But again, you're keeping in touch every 2 weeks. But in this case, if Bob is on my A list, I'm going to talk to Bob about things that matter to Bob, not about my great product, not about this new financial plan or this new service I'm providing. That comes later. You're going to talk to Bob about his hobbies, his vacations, where he went to school, as I've said before. the causes that he supports, or he and his family support, or his favorite teams. It's easy to find out what those are today. It's so easy. We've actually built tools to facilitate that. However, when you're keeping in touch every other week, you need to track your progress, log your activities, not only make it personal, but always stay on time and on track, and always as a giver first. And that will turn into a lifestyle or a habit, as I described earlier. Imagine having 20 people who thought the world of you because of how much you're thinking about them. What could that mean to you? All right, summing up the whole system, and it is a system. It is a system. It's a personal engagement, trust building, referral winning system. You're going to use all the tactics that help you stay in touch with people. You know, personal notes, cards in the mail, emails, text messages, phone calls, visits, unexpected drop-bys to deliver an article that they can't do without because you found something you know they would love. Delivering that, if you're in the same marketplace now, let's be real, having a scheduled networking meeting and showing up there. There are all kinds of ways to reach out. Mix it up. And then each time you do, bring an item of value, an article, a website link, make an introduction, show appreciation. All of that together will make you stand out and separate yourself from that noise I described in the marketplace. This is what it looks like, and it is a 10 minutes a day activity. I'll address that right here. If you've got 20 people and you're going to reach out and talk to 20 people in this A list once every 2 weeks, that means 10 people each week. 2 people a day is how the arithmetic sorts out. 2 people a day who you're going to give a focused, stay in touch level of attention to, giving to them. As you're making those 2 touches a day, that means 2 emails or 2 text messages or 2 simple phone calls. It's all pretty easy. And as you're doing that, it doesn't take more than 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day max if you're doing certain of those things like writing a personal note. However, if you do this and do it with those 20 people over the first 30 days, you're going to get results. And I've got lots and lots of illustrations, recommendations, testimonials, and alignable of people who started this and got results in the first week. Huge results, in fact, in the first week. The system is all about staying on time, on track, and then asking. The art of asking is not a difficult thing to master. And if you invest that 10 minutes a day, you should be getting anywhere between 6 to 10 referrals a month. Once again, it'll start out with a few in the first month. It'll then grow as you learn who is responsive, and usually about 80 to 90% of the people on your A list are responsive. There's always some who are either slower or not responsive. You simply move them off the focus list and into a less frequent pace. But the pace is important, as I've said. Every other week, then you ask. Then you ask again a couple of more intervals out. It's not that complicated. So, as we come to a wrap up here, I'm going to come back to a topic I often bring early in the presentation, and that's to ask the question, why referrals? Why should you care about referrals as opposed to going out and buying another list from some lead source or building an email sequence that sticks an email in front of someone every day or 2 or 3? Here's why referrals are the fastest route to the goals you have for your growth. Number 1, a referred prospect buys more. They're more valuable. On average, they're 16% more there's 16% more in the value of their purchases from you. Number two, when you stay in touch with a relationship, your retention rates will go up. Those retention rates are more meaningful in some industries where you're looking to create a lifetime customer or client, not just a transaction. Number three, when you go in with the trust as has been given to you by the referrer, it's like having a passport. You go in the door with that trust passport in hand because the people you're meeting know why you're coming and they have a relationship with the person who referred you. So sales close much faster. They're less expensive than any other form of marketing. It's not funnel marketing. It's not email marketing. It's not buying thousands of dollars of leads, as we've seen so many go out and do cold leads for them to make phone calls to, and then throw the list in the trash because it gets nothing. Far less expensive. And the one I love the most is when you get referrals, the people who refer you, the people you are referred to, I'm going to repeat that, the people you're referred to have a relationship with you now that propels them into wanting to refer you to the people they know. It has a multiplier effect. Think of it. If you get referred to 10 people and each of those 10 people know 3 or 4 people they could introduce you to, that's easy scaling up opportunity. That's why I'm so passionate about teaching people to come back to relationships and get out of the noise in the marketplace. Now we're here in this relationship with Alignable because we've taught this process over 100 times in audiences like this in 2024, our first year with that kind of relationship with Alignable, and only received that support from them because of the logic and the results it produces. We actually do provide a software tool. While we do a lot of training and teaching, the software tool is called Engage Pro. We built it. It's so easy to use. People are amazed at how simple, and it keeps them right on track with doing the work that they need to do. We've built it so that it's focused on you and you getting results. The steps inside to make it work for you are as simple as first you identify the who, your A list. Once you bring them in, we set up a keep in touch schedule in the system, and we keep track of it and tell you when it's time to reach out again. No one slips through the cracks. No one becomes that crumbled up ball of paper that you throw in the trash because you didn't keep in touch and follow up. We're going to tell you when it's time. Then we have a tool called the Intelligent Connector. If you put Duke University into your Intelligent Connector for an alumni of that school, it will instantly serve you back personal information about that Duke University to share with them. Links to articles. They could be about their basketball team. It could be about the NCAA finals. It could be about this new academic program. Then we set you up with how to teach or ask people to refer you. And at the very end, and I didn't give much weight to this till about 3 months ago, when the leader in an insurance company said, Tom, one of the marvelous things about your program is you keep our people accountable. Well, we can't make them do it, but we can tell them how well they're doing, and Engage Pro gives you an actual scorecard on how well you're doing when you follow the recipe. And if you're slipping anywhere, we share with you how you can improve and get back on track. Lastly, every Tuesday at 2 p.m., we have a training coaching call open to Engage Pro subscribers. There's no cost for this. It's how we build relationships with all the people who are using it. And after we go through that training and coaching and answer questions, it then becomes a community gabfest of people learning from each other, helping each other. And many of you here know what that's all about. It works. One of my favorite testimonials it repeats over and over again. It's 3 words. It just works. I can't say it any more than that. There's a gentleman, lifelong financial advisor. You asked the question, very successful. What could I teach him? Well, in 1 week, he mastered the Engage Pro system and posted this recommendation inside of Alignable. We have lots of these. In fact, we have almost 300 recommendations for Engage Pro in 2024. And I just, I'm so grateful for those of you who have provided these to us. Some of you are here. All of you are important. Now, when we talk about the options, Engage Pro is a pretty economical tool to invest in. We have 3 different price points. You can get started for as little as $36, use it for a few months, get used to it, understand how it works, and then we'll be walking alongside you, helping you reach the success. Many people, in fact, most people say, gee, I can buy this for a one-time purchase, lifetime purchase, less than $400, and it's less than the cost of using the tool for 12 months. Well, we used to offer this, we stopped, and because of the popularity, we've now brought it back in here in 2025. That's a very popular option. And the links to go to the Engage Pro website are in the chat. And then finally, some people say, well, gee, I don't want to go all the way. I'll just buy an annual and it's 22% savings. Whatever suits you. Nevertheless, I urge you, don't sit waiting for something to change for you, because until you decide to go in a new direction, you're going to keep repeating what you're doing today and keep getting the same outcomes. If you want a better way, we're here to help you do that. So the links are here. The links are in the chat. I'm open to talking with anyone to help you and see if we are a fit. But I would suggest you do 2 things for sure. Number 1 is join our Alignable Referrals Made Easy community, because then you'll get information on when our events take place and can join us for more. Number 2, join the Referrals Made Easy Learning Center, where this video will be published in a day or so. And more importantly, I'd really love to have a conversation. If you're not comfortable with Engage Pro, getting started in Engage Pro, it just works, as they say. So I'm going to quit there. We're going to go off to questions. And thank you all for being here today.